Hello, it is 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight's headlines, you have the head of state pays a heartfelt tribute to the late Hassan Umar Muhammad Burhan. The baccalaureate graduation ceremony was chaired by Prime Minister at Al Hotel. Pakistan called for the escalation with Iran's warns against strikes targeting infrastructure. Welcome to our newsroom. President Gele pays heartfelt tribute to the memory of the late Hassan Umar Muhammad. The death of the Defense Minister Hassan Umar Muhammad has deeply moved Djibouti in a message embodied with solemnity and compassion. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Gele, paid a heartfelt tribute to the man he described as a faithful and talented servant of the nation, Hassan Umar Muhammad, who passed away this Thursday in France, where he was receiving medical treatment, served as a Minister of Defense responsible for relations with Parliament. With the passing of Hassan Umar Muhammad, our country loses one of its most loyal and talented public servant dedicated to serving the public interest, declared the head of state. President Gele also praised the deceased human and moral qualities, emphasizing his continued commitment to basing his key actions on ethical principles and values rather than on communal affiliations. He also praised the virtues of a deserving experienced and courageous supporters. Upon hearing of the death, the head of state went to the Parisian hospital where the deceased minister's body lay. There he paid his respect and recited the Fatiha, praying to the Almighty God to grant him eternal paradise. A prominent figure in Djiboutian public life, the late Hassan Umar Muhammad dedicated several decades to serving the state. He notably held the positions of Commissioners of Tajura and Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior before joining the government about 10 years ago. The patriarch of a large family, he leaves behind his wives and his children and the entire Djiboutian nation. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The Prime Minister pays tribute to the memory of the late Hassan Umar Muhammad Burhan. The Republic of Djibouti has lost one of its most loyal servants. It is with profound sadness that the Prime Minister learned of the passing of Mr. Hassan Umar Muhammad Burhan, Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, which occurred this Thursday in France, where he was receiving medical treatment. In a heartfelt message, the Prime Minister paid tribute to a man whose life was intertwined with the history of Djibouti. For over 40 years, the late Hassan Umar Muhammad Burhan dedicated his commitment, rigorous and profound sense of duty to the nation. First in the National Assembly, where he gave voice to the people, then in the upper echelons of the civil servant before assuming several ministerial responsibilities with universally recognized dedication, competence and consistency. There are lives that become intertwined with the very history of a country. The deceased was one of those. The Prime Minister emphasized paying tribute to a man who always prioritized serving the public interests over seeking honors. The Prime Minister noted that the government has lost far more than colleagues, and it has lost a loyal servant of the state, a man of experience, dialogue, practical experience, whose fidelity to the institutions of the Republic and profound sense of duty will remain a source of inspiration for future generations in these times of sorrow. Prime Minister, on his own behalf and on behalf of the government, extend his deepest and most heartfelt condolence to the deceased wife, children and entire families, loved ones, and all his colleagues. We share your griefs and pray that the Almighty grants you patience, comfort, and solace in the face of these immense ordeals. The Prime Minister implores the Almighty to receive the deceased into his infinite mercy, to open for him the gate of paradise, and to make a grave a garden among the gardens of paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The tribute to Hassan Umar Muhammad Burhan, a life dedicated to public service. He was one of those whose life story is mirrored that of the nation. For over 4 decades, Hassan Umar Muhammad Burhan embodied a sense of duty loyalty to institutions, and commitment to serving the Republic. Today, a prominent figure in Djiboutian public life has passed away, leaving behind the legacy of a public servant whose names will forever be linked to the country's institutional history. Hassan Omar Mohamed Burhan has left us with his passing. Djibouti loses for more than a political and administrative leader. It loses one of the key witnesses and key players in its contemporary history. Born in 1953 in Tujura, he came from a large, deeply devoted to serving the nation. From a family deeply devoted to serving the nation, the son and grandsons of prominent citizens. He was the heir to a name already etched in the country's collective memory. His father is the late Omar Mohamed Burhan, a close associate of the late Haj Hassan Guled Abtidon, had himself served the state since the colonial period. The lineage would form the foundations of a commitment that would accompany Hassan Omar Mohamed Burhan through his life, educated in Cairo and then in the Paris region. He returned to Djibouti as the country for preparing to write new chapters in its history. In 1977, the year of independence, his destiny became intertwined with that of the young republic, elected as a member of parliament for the Popular Rally for Independence. On May 8, 1977, he became, at only 24 years old, the youngest member of the very first National Assembly. Re-elected in 1982, he participated in the early years of building the Djiboutian state by representing the voice of his fellow citizens within the parliamentary institutions. In 1987, he chosen to join the civil services, driven by demanding visions of public services. He then joined the Ministry of Interior, where he discovered the working of the state first-hand, experiencing the realities of the on the ground. In Tujura, he first served as a deputy commissioner of the Republic in 1991 before being appointed commissioner of the Republic in 1994. In this region, which he knew intimately, he developed an administrative expertise based on listening, close collaborations, and a strong sense of responsibility. In 2000, he assumed the strategic positions of Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior, becoming one of the key figures in the functions of this core government department. For over a decade, he carried out a discreet yet essential mission at the head of government actions. The year 2011 marked a new chapter in his career. He joined the government as Minister of Housing, Urban Planning and Environment, while also becoming a member of the Political Bureau of the Popular Rally for Progress. In April 2013, he was entrusted with the portfolio of the Minister of Interior and Decentralization, and major responsibilities at the head of issues of internal security, stability, and national cohesion. He carried out these missions steadfastly until the final years of his career, before also taking on matters related to national defense and relations with Parliament. For over 40 years, Hassan Omar Mohamed Burhan served the state in its most sensitive missions, those that guarantee security, public orders, and the continuity of institutions. Those who knew him in Tujura as well as in Djibouti City will remember a man committed to a single priority, serving the Republic. Today, the nation is both before his memory to his family, loved ones, and all those who had the honors of working alongside him. Djibouti extends its deepest condolence. A great servant of the state has left us, but his career and his commitment will forever be etched in the history of the Republic. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training held its graduation ceremony for the 2026 baccalaureate this morning at El Grand Hotel. The event was held under the patronage of Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed and was dedicated to the Mohammed Hassan Ahmed, known as Qaddafi, graduating class. The ceremony took place in the presence of the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, Colonel Mohammed Jama, Commander of the Republican Guard, Member of Government, high-ranking civil and military officials, as well as numerous representatives from public institutions, teachers, parents, and other guests who came to celebrate the success of the new graduates. A highlight of the ceremony was when the four top performing baccalaureate students from both of the public and private sectors addressed the gathering on behalf of their classmates. They expressed their gratitude to their parents, teachers, and educational authorities for their support while encouraging Djiboutian youth to believe in their ability, preserve, persevere, and pursue their ambitions. Following the ceremony, the authorities congratulated all the graduates of the 2026 class named after Mohammed Hassan Ahmed, known as Gaddafi, and wished them every success in their higher educations and future services to the Republic of Djibouti.
Ladies and gentlemen, parents and dear graduates, the Ministry of Education, I'm greeting you the best greeting which comes from the bottom of my heart. These years of study have been long journey marked by effort, perseverance, and sacrifice. We have gained for more than just knowledge. We have forged our character, developed our critical thinking, and prepared for our future. We placed our faith in the word of Allah, the most merciful. Allah will raise those among you who believe and those who have been granted knowledge by degrees. Driven by this conviction, we worked with determination to attain these high ranks.
For his part, the president of the jury said that today we celebrate much more than just passing an exam. We celebrate the culminations of many years of effort, discipline, and perseverance. The result achieved by this graduating class testifies to the quality of the work accomplished by our students, the unwavering commitment of our teachers, and the constant support of our families. I pay particular tribute to this graduating class named after Mohammed Hassan Ahmed, known as Gaddafi, an iconic figure in the national education whose legacy will continue to inspire future generations. For his part, the Minister of National Education, Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mohamud, said that it is with immense pride and deep emotion that we celebrate today the success of the 2026 baccalaureate graduating class. The ceremony marks the culmination of a long journey built on hard work, perseverance, and dedication. Above all, it is an opportunity to recognize the achievement of our students as well as the exemplary commitment of teachers, school administrators, inspectors, all education personnel, and parents who have supported these young people through these decisive stages of their lives. The baccalaureate is much more than a diploma. It opens the door to higher education. For his part, the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed said that it is a great honor to preside over this ceremony dedicated to a youth that embodies the hope and future of our nation. On behalf of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, I extend my warmest congratulations to all graduates of the 2026 baccalaureate class as well as to their families, teachers, and all those who contributed to their success. Your achievement is far more than a personal accomplishment. It represents a collective success for our education systems and further demonstrate that the investment made by the state in education are bearing fruit. Through you, it is the entire Republic of Djibouti that moves forward with confidence towards a future built and knowledge, skills, and innovations. By naming this graduation after class Muhammad Hassan Ahmed, known as Gaddafi, we pay all a well-deserved tribute to a great builders of Djibouti's education. A graduation class marked by excellence and remembrance, they embodies the success, hope, and future of the Djiboutian youth. The 29 graduate of the Mohammed Hassan Ahmed, known as Gaddafi class, received their diploma during a solemn ceremony marked by the recognitions of merit and the tribute to figures whose names will forever be linked to their journey. The graduation ceremony took place in the presence of the graduate families, members of the government, high-ranking officials gathered for the occasion. The new high school graduates receiving their diploma from the Prime Minister, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, as well as members of the government and other officials present, including Colonel Mohammed Jama, Commander of the Republican Guard. Highlight of the ceremony was the awarding of the distinctions to the top 20 graduates from the various baccalaureate tracks, including the General Baccalaureate to Vocational Baccalaureate, the Arabic Baccalaureate, and the Baccalaureate for Refugee. This recognition is acknowledged their excellent result as well as the effort, perseverance, and commitment they demonstrated throughout their academic journey. The event was also marked by a moving moment with the posthumous presentations of a certificate of recognition to the family of the Mohammed Hassan Ahmed, known as Gaddafi, after who this graduating class was named. This tribute honored his memory and commitment, linking his legacy to the achievement and ambitions of these new generations of graduates. The ceremony concluded with a group photo of the 29 new graduates and the attending authorities, thus immortalizing a symbolic moment marked by success, the passing on the knowledge and hope for the future. The Institute of Diplomatic Studies launched diplomatic French training for Sudanese diploma, strengthening language skills for diplomacy. This is the objectives of the new training programs launched today by the Institute of Diplomatic Studies for Diplomat of the Republic of Sudan. The Institute of Diplomatic Studies hosted the launch ceremony for the French for specific people's courses designated for Sudanese diplomatic representatives. The ceremony was presided over by His Excellency Abdul Qadir Hussein Omar, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, in the presence of several high-ranking officials, including His Excellency Mohammed Saeed Hassan, Ambassador of the Republic of Sudan, Mohammed Douale Waliye, Ambassador for the Arab world, and Mr. Hassan Omar, Director of the Institute of Diplomatic Studies. On this occasion, the diplomat participating in the programs also took a French language proficiency test. This step will allow the training contents to be adopted in the specific needs of each participant. For his part, the Sudanese ambassador said that on this occasion, the diplomat participants in the programs also took a French language proficiency test. This step will allow the training contest to be adapted to the specific needs of each participant and ensure more targeted instructions. For his part, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Abdul Qadir Hussein Omar, said that this program aims to develop proficiency in diplomatic French and strengthen the language skills of Sudanese diplomats in the performance of their duties. It also seeks to facilitate their participation in international exchanges and promote more effective communication within Francophone diplomatic institutions. Djibouti and Morocco strengthen their cooperation in the field of renewable energy, accelerating the energy transition and developing solutions adapted to the challenges of electrification. This is the objectives of the official missions carried out in Morocco by the Minister of Energy in charge of Natural Resources, Dr. Jama Mohammed Hassan. From Sunday, July 12 to Wednesday, July 15, 2026, the Minister led a working mission to the Kingdom of Morocco, accompanied by the Ambassador of Djibouti to Morocco, His Excellency Mohammed Dour Hersi, as well as several senior officials from his ministry. During this visit, the Djiboutian delegation was received by the Moroccan Minister of Energy, Transitions and Sustainable Development, Her Excellency Leila Ben Ali. The discussion focused on ways to strengthen energy cooperation between the two countries and explore new partnership opportunities. At the heartfelt of the discussions was Morocco technical support to Djibouti in the area of rural electrification. The missions also included a field visit to the Noor Solar Complex in Ouarzazate, one of the world's largest solar parks. The minister and his delegation were able to learn about the various technologies implemented in these facilities and exchange ideas with the Massen's officials on their experience in developing renewable energy. Through these missions, Djibouti intends to leverage the future development. The Minister of Environment, Sustainable Development and the United Nations Development Programs strengthen their support for local environmental initiatives faced with growing environmental challenges. Djibouti continues its effort to encourage Djibouti local actions to protect nature and combat climate change. A new step has just been taken with the signing of a grant agreement for several associations committed to sustainable development. The Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programs, held an official signing ceremony on Thursday, July 16, 2026 at the Best Western Hotel for grant agreement between UNDP and selected associations under the 8th operational phase of the Global Environmental Facilities, the small grant programs. The ceremony took place in the presence of the Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development, Mohamed Ahmed Awale, and the UNDP resident representative in Djibouti, Ms. Alessandra Rocasalvo, following a call for proposals launched to associations in the 5 inland regions, Arta, Al Sabih, Obok, Dekhel, and Tujura, as well as in Djibouti City. 18 projects were unanimously selected by the National Steering Committee. These initiatives are structured around the 3 main environmental themes: 10 projects dedicated to combating climate change, 7 focused on combating soil degradations, and 1 project centered on preserving biodiversity. This ceremony had the dual purpose of officially handing over the funds. For his part, the Minister of Environment, Mohamed Ahmed Awali, said that these initiatives are structured around 3 main environmental themes: 10 projects dedicated to combating climate change, 7 focused on combating soil degradations, and 1 project centered on preserving biodiversity. Concerning the regional scene, gradual returns of residents to Khartoum accompanies reconstruction efforts, while some areas of Sudan are still experiencing clashes. Recovery efforts are accelerating in regions where security conditions allow for a gradual return to daily lives. In Khartoum, the country's capital, many residents are beginning to return to their neighborhoods. For the international scene, Argentina overturns England and reaches the final after an incredible comeback. Argentina secured their place in the finals with a 2-1 victory over England on Wednesday night, in particular in a spectacular semi-finals marked by a dramatic turnaround in the final minutes. The Israeli strikes hit central Gaza after new evacuation orders. Israeli airstrikes target several areas in the central Gaza Strip after new forced evacuation orders. In the Al-Maqazi area, a strike targeted residential buildings. Additionally, 2 people were wounded after a apartment building was hit in the city of Deir Bala, considered one of the main urban centers in the central Gaza. And this is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.